It seems that fairy tales don't exist, not even in real royalty. What was once a perfect marriage between Princess Haya Bint Hussein and Dubai's ruler, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, ended in a scandalous divorce as the princess fled to London with her 2 young children. But why? What could have happened for Haya Bint Hussein to escape the luxury and wealth of Dubai in such desperate measures? The answer, as it turns out, is far more complex and chilling than anyone could have imagined. In a series of shocking revelations, Princess Haya has pulled back the curtain on her life in Dubai, exposing a world of fear, control, and alleged abuses that paint a stark contrast to the dazzling image carefully cultivated by the emirate. But to know the whole truth, we need to go back a bit. Born on May 3, 1974, Princess Haya is part of the Hashemite dynasty, one of the oldest and most respected royal lineages in the Arab world. Her father was King Hussein of Jordan, and her mother was Queen Alia, who tragically died in a helicopter crash when Haya was just 3 years old. This early loss would shape Haya's life in profound ways, instilling in her a sense of independence and resilience that would serve her well in the years to come. As you may guess, growing up as Jordanian royalty, Haya enjoyed privileges that most could only dream of. But she was far from a pampered princess. She received a top-notch education, attending the prestigious Bryanston School in England, and eventually went to Oxford University. But her passion was truly in the stables, among neighs and galloping hooves. She became a really good equestrian, representing Jordan in the 2000 Sydney Olympics. But sadly, it was her love for horses that would eventually lead her to cross paths with Sheikh Mohammed at an equestrian event in Spain. Their meeting seemed like something out of a fairy tale. Sheikh Mohammed, known for his passion for horses, was immediately taken with the beautiful and intelligent Jordanian princess. Sparks flew. Romance bloomed. In 2004, they married. Haya was 30, Mohammed was 55. But the age didn't matter at the time. It seemed like a perfect match, a union of 2 powerful royal families that would bring prestige and economic benefits to both Dubai and Jordan. The early years of their marriage seemed happy. Haya, now the Sheikh's 6th and youngest wife, embraced her role as a public figure in Dubai. She gave birth to 2 children, a daughter, Al-Yalila, in 2007, and a son, Zayed, in 2012. In numerous interviews, Haya spoke glowingly of her husband, praising his vision and leadership, and to the world, they were the golden couple. Haya was different from Mohammed's other wives. She was out there, by Sheikh Mohammed's side at international events, visible, educated, poised. She did charity work. People loved her. But behind closed doors, things weren't so rosy. Friends say Haya struggled from day one. In Jordan, she was the king's daughter. In Dubai, just the youngest wife in a polyamorous marriage. Big difference. Also, reports suggest that the Sheikh's other children, particularly Crown Prince Hamdan, were less than welcoming to Haya from the start. They reportedly criticized her for what they perceived as her overly free-spirited nature and her penchant for bright, eye-catching outfits. This tension within the family dynamic would only grow over time. As the years went by, Haya reportedly became increasingly frustrated with the limitations placed on her freedom. Despite her education and accomplishments, she found herself in a world where her every move was scrutinized and controlled. She felt trapped. The contrast between her upbringing in a relatively progressive Jordan and the more conservative expectations placed on her in Dubai became increasingly stark. It was against this backdrop of growing discontent that rumors began to circulate about an affair between Princess Haya and one of her bodyguards, a British man named Russell Flowers. According to reports, the relationship began shortly after Flowers was assigned to Haya's security detail. At the time, Haya was 43, Flowers was 33, and Sheikh Mohammed was nearing 70. You do the math. The age difference between Haya and her husband now felt like a chasm. The alleged affair affair, which reportedly lasted for 2 years, was said to be passionate and intense. Haya reportedly lavished Flowers with expensive gifts, including a luxury watch, an antique shotgun, and a ruby-encrusted ring engraved with the Flowers family crest. But they weren't careful enough. Flowers' wife became suspicious almost immediately, finding intimate messages and photos of Haya in a bikini on her husband's phone. In 2017, Flowers initiated divorce proceedings from his wife. But to keep the affair under wraps, Haya paid Flowers $1.6 million for his silence. She also allegedly paid the same amount to 2 other security guards who knew about the relationship but had kept it hidden from Sheikh Mohammed. But secrets tend to come out, especially in the closely watched world of Dubai's royal family. When Sheikh Mohammed found out about his wife's affair, the consequences were quick and harsh in the Arab world, especially in royal families. Such actions are taken very seriously. It was at this point that Haya's fear for her safety and that of her children began to escalate dramatically. She became acutely aware of the fate that had befallen 2 of Sheikh Mohammed's daughters, Princesses Latifa and Shamsa, who had previously attempted to flee Dubai. Both failed, both dragged back. Latifa's story hit the news in 2018. She claimed her father was cruel, abusive. She even said he'd killed one of his uncle's wives because he found her behavior too provocative. So naturally, Haya got scared. If Mohammed could do that to his daughters, what about her? What about her kids? She had to get out, but how? Mohammed was powerful, rich. His reach was long, but Haya was smart. She had connections, royal connections. In the spring of 2019, Princess Haya made her move. With the help of German diplomats, whom she had known for years, she managed to flee Dubai with her 2 children. They first arrived in Germany, where Haya had hoped to secure political asylum. However, her request for asylum was denied. The reason? Her children were considered heirs to the ruler of Dubai, and Sheikh Mohammed was demanding their return. It was a devastating blow. But Haya refused to give up. It was the moment for the House of Cards. Her brother, King Abdullah II of Jordan, stepped in. He made her deputy ambassador to the UK, a move that granted her diplomatic immunity. With this new status, Haya and her children were able to seek and obtain political asylum in the UK. Once safely in London, Haya took the unprecedented step of filing for divorce from Sheikh Mohammed in the High Court of Justice. But this was no ordinary divorce proceeding. Haya was not only seeking to end her marriage, but also requesting a forced marriage protection order for her daughter and a non-molestation order for herself. And then, the divorce proceedings quickly became the largest and most expensive in British legal history. Haya was fighting for full custody of her children, terrified that Sheikh Mohammed might kidnap them and take them back to Dubai, like he did with Latifa and Shamsa. And with so much at stake, the princess had no choice but to fight, and fight hard. The trial dragged on for years, and Haya exposed the dirty laundry of Dubai's royal family. It was during these proceedings that the alleged affair between Haya and her bodyguard came to light. Haya vehemently denied the allegations, and Flowers himself made no public comment. Some speculated that Sheikh Mohammed might have fabricated or exaggerated the affair story in an attempt to tarnish Haya's reputation and gain an advantage in the custody battle. Just like with Princess Diana, the public supported the troubled princess. But unlike Diana, she did have an escape plan, one that wasn't born out of impulsivity, but from months, even years of planning. She bought a mansion in London before she left. She took $39 million from Dubai, her savings from her allowance as Muhammad's wife. Think about that, $39 million in savings from her allowance. That's how rich they were. But for Haya, no amount of money was worth the fear, the control. She wanted out. All these details were revealed to the court. It was also found that Muhammad had sent threatening messages to Haya. "You and the children will never be safe in England," he wrote. The court also heard about the Sheikh's involvement in the kidnappings of Latifa and Shamsa. The court found that Sheikh Mohammed had led a campaign of intimidation against Haya, including hacking her phone. The judgment said that the sheikh had ordered and organized the hacking of Haya's phone, as well as those of her lawyers and security team. He used Pegasus spyware, a hacking tool so powerful it was originally meant to fight crime and terrorism. The court described this as an abuse of power and a serious violation of UK criminal law. This wasn't the Mohammed the world knew. He was supposed to be a visionary, a modern leader, but the court painted a different picture, a controlling man willing to break laws to get his way. And as the trial went on, it became clear that Haya was not just fighting for her own freedom and safety, but also exposing the darker side of life among Gulf royalty. Her case drew international attention to issues like women's rights, forced marriages, and the treatment of royal children in the region. Finally, in 2022, after years of legal battles, the High Court of England sided with Princess Haya. She was granted sole custody of her children, and Sheikh Mohammed was ordered to pay $730 million, the biggest divorce settlement in UK history. But for Haya, it wasn't about the money. It was about safety, freedom, for her and her kids. The settlement included provisions for the children's security, education, and future weddings, as well as compensation for items Haya had left behind in Dubai. But in the end, after years of living in fear, she could finally breathe easy, knowing that she and her children were protected by the full force of the British legal system. But considering all the power that we now know Dubai has she really found the peace and protection she needs? Because for Mohammed, it was a PR disaster. His reputation took a hit. He went from visionary leader to alleged abuser overnight. It isn't a good look. We don't really know if this story will keep going or if it has finally reached the true ending of fairy tales, one where safety matters more than appearances. Since she took her 2 children and ran from her mansion, Princess Haya has changed her life forever. From being a major royal figure in the Middle East, she now leads a much quieter life in London, though she still holds her title and keeps ties to her Jordanian royal background. Her days as the glamorous wife of Dubai's ruler are over. But her future? That looks a lot brighter now. Probably. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. See you next time.